Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant from Akulmac Technologies, and welcome to Legal Matters. We want to discuss something about which happened this week, and it was a judgment given by Supreme Court against the farm laws, or rather, Supreme Court gave an order saying that the farm laws are stayed until further decision. To discuss this matter, let me invite my friend from Ahmedabad, Mr. Jeet Bhatt.
Thank you, Chandrakant, for inviting me to discuss about this matter. I'm looking forward for this discussion.
Jeet, as you know that Supreme Court has listened to a lot of parties, and I think the big question that is running in everybody's mind is that when Parliament passes a law after so much deliberation, after discussing in lower house, upper house, and also with president signatures, once the laws are passed, and can these be stayed by the Supreme Court? That is question number one. And question number two is, uh, so much effort goes in by the representative of people, and then Supreme Court basically stays on such laws. So I think that is what we want to discuss today.
Right, absolutely. So, yes, in a democratic setup, there is separation of powers with regards to the judiciary, executive, and the legislature. And it is properly separated and it is not intermixed. So, yes, when you say that a lot of efforts go in, a law is enacted by an entire procedure which is followed, and thereafter the enactment passes when the president gives his assent, and then it becomes the law. Certainly, that is the job and object of the legislature. And when they have done it, they've passed the law after so much deliberation and after taking so many factors which go into it. And also the fact that these farm laws which have been passed were to liberalize the farm sector. And that was done, which was required, which was suggested by several committees, which was recommended by a lot of expert bodies. And it would liberalize the farm sector, which is necessary, in my opinion, as well. And also the International Monetary Fund giving out a statement saying that these farm laws are beneficial for the future of this country. And certainly we have seen the effect of market economy now that India is, and the effect and the growth that we have seen in last around 20 years. Certainly market economy is the way ahead, and every sector gradually should be brought into this market forces of the market. But with regards to the protests that are going on, certainly whenever a new change comes in, there will be protests from some quarters of this country. And the best way to deal with it is to give time to these new laws. Because we've seen since 1991, since we opened up our economy, there have been protests going on since that time when the market was liberalized. But gradually now, all those people who had been protesting are also aware of the benefits of this liberalization policies. And therefore, in this new farm laws liberalizing the farm sector, if they had been given the chance to be implemented and to be seen its effect, then probably the agitators would have also seen the benefits. But unfortunately, the Supreme Court has stayed the implementation of these three farm acts, which were passed in 2020. But what appears to be the reason behind saying this, undoubtedly, it's an unprecedented act which has been order which has been passed by the Supreme Court. Because generally, it is Supreme Court's orders itself, judgments, that not to stay the implementation of the act. Because once it has been passed by proper procedure, there is a constitutional presumption that these laws are valid and they are not infringing any of the fundamental or constitutional rights guaranteed under the Constitution. But the factors what weighed in before the Supreme Court by passing this unprecedented order has been recorded in its order dated 12th of January. And what it says is that there were three categories of petitions which came up before the Supreme Court. The first category of petition was challenging the validity of these three farm acts by the agitators and unions of farmers. The second set of petitions was with regards to those unions of farmers which said that these farm laws are good and they should not be held as invalid. And the third set of petition were filed by individuals and residents of Delhi and neighboring states, complaining that due to these agitations, their right to freedom of movement across the country is violated. Because these agitators have been blocking the roads which enter Delhi, and therefore residents' rights to movement is infringed, and therefore they should agitate, because agitation and protesting is also a fundamental right. But there has to be a place, a ground, a dedicated area where these protests should go on, and it should not be in a way that it violates the normal life of the city. So these three petitions came up. The Supreme Court also observed that the agitators have been agitating and protesting in a peaceful manner. And the Supreme Court appreciates that. And it says that laudably the farmers have so far carried on the agitation peacefully and without any untoward incident. So it recognizes that the protests are going on in a very peaceful manner. But what it also, what was alleged is that some unions and some members are planning an tractor rally on 26th of January to disrupt the Republic Day function in Delhi. To which also some unions and their lawyers denied, saying that we would never do it because every family, one member from Punjab or Haryana is in army. They would never disrupt the Republic Day function, which is carried out in Delhi. But still, there were reports, and it was confirmed by the Attorney General, that some banned organizations are funding and wanting disruption. And therefore, that was the allegation which was made before the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court also observes that negotiations have been going on, protests have been going on since September, and they are not fructifying. There is no result coming out. There is no way that conciliation or negotiation seems to be going on successfully. And therefore, Supreme Court was of the opinion that a committee of experts have to be formed, and both the sides have to submit and represent before this committee, and let the committee make a report and submit it to the Supreme Court. So in order to do that, the Supreme Court constituted a committee of 4 persons who are experts in this field. Those 4 persons are Shri Bhupinder Singh Mann, who is the National President, Bharatiya Kisan Union and All India Kisan Coordination Committee. Second is Dr. Pramod Kumar Joshi, who is Agricultural Economist, Director of South Asia International Food Policy Research Institute. Third is Shri Ashok Gulati, who is the Agricultural Economist and former Chairman of the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. And fourth is Shri Anil Ghanwat, who is the President, Shetkari Sangathan. So the Supreme Court constituted by appointing these 4 members in the committee, and has directed the committee to allow all these unions to make representation and hear them and come out with a solution, and ultimately file a report within 2 months from the date of first meeting of this committee. Finally, the Supreme Court also observes in its order, and I think this is the why the Supreme Court has granted stay in an unprecedented manner. What the Supreme Court states is that while we may not stifle a peaceful protest, we think that this extraordinary order of stay of implementation of the farm laws will be perceived as an achievement of the purpose of such protest, at least for the present, and will encourage the farmers' bodies to convince their members to get back to their livelihood, both in order to protect their own lives and health, in order to protect the lives and properties of others. So this fact is what has been weighed by the Supreme Court in order to stay, that the Supreme Court observes that it doesn't want to stifle a protest, but it also thinks necessary that life and property of those who are protesting is also at risk, because we've seen a lot of members dying during this protest, some committing suicide. There are women, elderly persons, there are children who are on the streets in this cold winter and also during this pandemic. So there is threat to their life. There is also threat to life and property of other residents of the city of Delhi and neighboring states. So therefore, in order to convince the members who are protesting, the Supreme Court has given a stay so that they have some confidence in the Apex Court as well as in this committee which has been constituted by the Apex. And therefore, to gain their confidence, the Supreme Court has granted this stay. But undoubtedly, it's an unprecedented order, not seen before, and the Supreme Court normally doesn't grant stay. But because of these circumstances, the Supreme Court might have thought that this is the best way to handle the situation at the moment, and thereafter the Supreme Court will consider the constitutionality. But also, the Supreme Court in its order has not touched upon the merits. It has not heard the arguments of the councils on the validity of the act, because an act enacted by the parliament is not final. Ultimately, if it is challenged, it is for the Supreme Court to decide whether the act violates any of the fundamental rights guaranteed under the Constitution, and therefore the final say is of the Supreme. The Supreme Court can ultimately declare an act to be ultra virus or unconstitutional if it finds that it violates any of the guarantees which are granted by the Constitution under Part 3 of the Constitution. So, therefore, the Supreme Court will decide, but Supreme Court normally doesn't grant stay of these acts which are challenged, and therefore this is unprecedented. But it seems that these are the reasons what wait before the Supreme Court while passing this order staying the implementation. But certainly there was an argument made by an advocate who represented 15 unions from 15 different states of this country, who submitted that don't grant stay because this will affect, because we have already implemented and we have placed orders with regards to fruits and vegetables. So the Supreme Court said that with regards to minimum support price, that will remain. Otherwise, the implementation of these acts would be stayed. So certainly, the Supreme Court weighed in the current situation, law and order situation in Delhi and neighboring states, and therefore has granted this extraordinary order.
So I think, Jeet, thanks for clarifying. I think the people are thinking that the parliament spent so much time in passing these laws, and then one fine day, few people will file a petition in the Supreme Court, and then Supreme Court will decide the fate of that law. So I think that is one thing that you have clarified very nicely, where you have said that very clearly that the Supreme Court is the ultimate custodian of any legal matter. So I think they have the complete jurisdiction in this area. But I also feel that they have not really, they have just put a stay on the laws. They have not said that, hey, these laws are unconstitutional. So it is for the benefit of both parties, where the government talks about their pros and cons, and the people who are protesting also talks about pros and cons about these laws, and ultimately the decision will be taken by Supreme Court. So I think that is something which you have explained very clearly. But what is the way forward from here? What is your opinion on this?
As I understand, the protests are with regards to repealing of these laws. Their demand is that these laws should be repealed. Now that the parliament, unless they pass another law, cannot repeal the laws which have been enacted. And I don't think the government wants these laws to be repealed. So in a way, this is a stalemate situation, and there is a deadlock. But ultimately, it depends on how effective and efficient this committee is in in convincing the members of both the sides in order to reach some conclusion. But I feel that ultimately only the Supreme Court will have to decide the validity of these laws, and the Supreme Court has the final say, and the matters would be argued. But in my opinion, I think the acts should have been implemented, and they should not have been stayed, because it is not the entire country which is opposing these laws. It is some unions from some states who are opposing. Others are wanting these laws to be implemented. So only because there are protests going on and the protest cannot be stopped or cannot be managed, that should not be a ground for staying. And it is not as a precedent also, because Supreme Court itself observes that this is an extraordinary order of stay. So certainly it is not to be applied in all cases, or it has to be used as a precedent. But I think Supreme Court in these facts thought it best to stay. That is what they've done. But otherwise, in my opinion, it should have been allowed to go on, to be implemented, to be seen its effects, pros, cons, so that the Supreme Court would have been in a better position to even judge the effects of the laws.
Jeet, thank you very much for joining us today morning, and especially in the north of India, it is quite cold. So I appreciate that you found time to explain this for the benefit of our viewers.
Well, thank you very much, Chandrakant, for having me. It's my pleasure.
So, dear viewers, as you can see that we're trying to bring clarity on this whole matter, and it is coming in the news every day. So, you please engage with us, send your comments, and based on your comments, we will include you live with our expert panel of expert headed by Jeet in the next episode of our legal matters. Until then, I'll like to say goodbye to you, Jeet, and also to all our viewers.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Chandrakant.